Hello there, boys and girls around the world, and welcome back to Mid-Table Crisis with me, Simon Cross.
And me, Tom Patrick.
Now, we're partway through the World Cup at the moment. I mean, day of recording, 22nd of June, so yeah, we were a significant way for the group stages already, so we thought we'd give you a little insight into how that's going, who we think shocked us, surprised us. Well, just make sure that you're all up to speed on what we think about what's going on. So, Tom, where would you like to start?
Well, seeing as given our current location, I'd say we've got to talk about England and England's spectacular failure to get through the World Cup stages for the first time since 1958.
Well, our guest called it, didn't he? He said they wouldn't get out of the group, and we have to give a tip of the hat there to Jack Johnson.
Yeah. It's nice of you to wear that hat today as well. It is bad not getting out of the group for the first time since 58, but also got to remember there was a few years we didn't qualify at all, so it could have been worse. I mean, off the top of my head, 74, 94, possibly 78. It could have been worse. And I don't think, just to start this little argument off, I don't think Hodgson should go. I think he did not the best job possible, but he didn't have the best team, and he had a very tough group. So it was disappointing, of course, but I don't think we should sack him over it.
No, I'm with you on that one. I think destabilising the ship further now by sacking the manager is not going to get us anywhere. I mean, the team, let's face it, is a transitional team. We're getting rid of a lot of big players over the last couple of years. We've lost John Terry, we've lost Rio Ferdinand, we're probably going to lose someone else. We've lost Ashley Cole as well, let's face it.
Yeah.
So, three big defensive stalwarts that we, haven't found replacements for yet. So, I know a lot of people point to the fact that our defence is what let us down, especially in the Uruguay game. But it's still young, internationally speaking. I mean, they haven't got much experience together, or caps combined, so we're just going to have to get that gelling and get back up to speed there. And that's just going to take time. There's no two ways about that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you've also got to say as well, yeah, we've got to get them gelling, but at the same time, they're probably not the best players we've ever had playing in centre back, are they? Jagielka and Cahill are two good players, but I'd say neither of them are as good as Ferdinand, neither of them are as good as Sol Campbell, neither of them are as good as Tony Adams. So you've got to really say there's only so much we can do. As you said, it is a transitional side, and we'll also be looking for some younger players to be coming through.
But we are talking in negative terms, obviously, because England are out, but it's not that we didn't play badly. We played good attacking football. Our end product was a little shortcoming, but there's a good style of play emerging, and we're just going to take some more time to work on. That's just where we are at the moment, and I think it's okay to accept that.
Yeah, but I also think, despite the loss, there was quite a lot of positivity about the England camp for the Uruguay game because we played so well against them. Our young players have done well, and we thought we could beat them, especially after they lost 3-1 to Costa Rica. But we just didn't play the same way. We played a lot better in our first game than we did our second game. I don't think anyone can deny that. I mean, 2 moments of brilliance from Suarez undid us, but it wasn't like we were creating loads of chances down the other end. It was just like we'd had our confidence shaking a little bit. If we'd have played as well against Uruguay as we did against Italy, we would have been through.
Well, we'd have won and had a chance of going through.
Yeah.
I mean, we would have had to stop the footballing juggernauts of Costa Rica, who currently top our group. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we're not the only ones that have been caught short in our group, because I don't think anyone expected Costa Rica to win any of the other of their 2 games so far, but they have.
Yeah.
Which just goes to show that the best laid plans of mice and men often go awry. I mean, just look at Spain, for example. We didn't think the world champions would already be out.
I know, it's bizarre to think that, 2 teams that, okay, it was a very tough group, but you've got to be considering Spain as one of the favourites. And to just capitulate so badly against the Dutch in the second half was crazy to see. I think Diego Costa must be sick to his stomach. The World Cup in Brazil, he could have played for him. It looked like they could do with him.
Well, he's made his choice, and he's now going to have to stand by it, isn't he, ultimately?
Yeah, he is.
It's not like he's going to get a chance to switch back again, so... Well, who knows these days with FIFA, but never mind. Important thing is, we're not the only big team to... We're not the only major European team, or team that was expected to go through, rather, to experience troubles. Let's say that. And it just goes to show a lot of other teams have caught up, and maybe we haven't been as attuned to that as we should have been.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worse for Spain than it is for us, because they were defending world champions.
True.
So they're always going to struggle.
So, as I say, they've got problems. They're about to start transitional periods, because a lot of their squad is their midfield is aging. Their goalkeeper, I don't think they'll stick by Casillas. Now, I think they're going to usher in a new era, but they've got an embarrassment of riches, so... Yeah, De Gea, as I say, so it's not like they're short in that department, but ultimately, changes are afoot, and we accept that as England fans. I think the Spanish fans will accept that changes are coming. Obviously not to management, but to personnel, maybe to style. So, ultimately, changes are afoot, and there's no way around that.
That's probably a good thing. I think there's got to be some drastic changes. I mean, people have made a lot of noise about why England didn't do that well. People have said it's about too many foreigners in the Premier League. People have said it's about, not giving enough support to grassroots level football. And I think with anything, it's a combination of things. It's a combination of factors. A lot of the players that play for England didn't really play as well for their clubs as they do for their country, as ever. You could say that a little bit about Spain maybe as well. But what you've got to remember with that is a lot of these players have been playing with their club mates for years, and they see them every day in training, and then they play with them on the Saturday. And they do that 30, 40 times a season. Their country, they maybe see these players on the same team 15, 20 times including training, if they all get picked for the same team. So it's going to be difficult for them to gel. So what they really need to save up their performances for the big games. And, you could say that, Rooney scored his first World Cup goal, but he's not really been a world beater, which is what we needed. So you can't just say there's one reason why England didn't do well. There's lots of them. So let's stop trying to blame one thing and just say, look, we weren't good enough again. The big players didn't perform. I don't think we should autopsy it too much.
I think we're not, I think 2010 in that regard does a lot of good, because that just showed just how bad it could get in terms of the way we were systematically outclassed by Germany. And I think since then we've come a little little more deadened to the shock. We know that it's going to take time. We're going to have to heal up. It's going to take a while. Yeah. I think we're willing to accept that as fans now. Yeah,
the 2010 capitulation, really. The thing is, we weren't actually much better against in the group this last time than we were this time. If you remember, it was a boorish draw with Algeria. We barely squeezed past Slovenia. It wasn't a particularly strong group. And the draw against the USA, I can say that was a bit of a freak, but a draw against the USA, they probably deserved it. They did play well. If we'd have had a strong group last year, we wouldn't have got through. And this year, we had a stronger group, and we're not going to get through. So
the USA's continued improvement, if you look through their track records through tournaments, just goes to show that with the right kind of infrastructure, you can generate a team. Not exactly world beaters now, but I think a lot of people would be, that's safe to say they've got a strong chance of getting out the group which, when you looked at that group, you wouldn't have given them.
No.
I mean, yeah, it all hinges on tonight's game against Portugal, really. I mean, I am hoping that the USA manage to do it, but on the other hand, I do want to see Cristiano Ronaldo have a good tournament because he's an entertaining player. There's no two ways about it.
I thought his knee was heavily damaged there.
I mean, there has been reports that he's one of the surgeons that's treating him saying that he's risking his career by playing this tournament, but it just goes to show how much it means to some people.
It was good of them to show a lot of fight as well in the last game against Ghana. They scored after something like 50 seconds, got pegged back, and then the last couple of minutes nodded one in. So it was good to see them keep fighting till the end. And
the US keep fighting till the end. Yeah, certainly.
Portugal, buggered by again a very strong Germany team. So I think England's have a tradition, right? We usually get there, and when we do, we get out of the group stage. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. And then we either get eliminated in 16, or the semis, or the quarters if we're lucky. And then that's it. We never get any further. It's we don't get into the finals. We're just not good enough. I mean, we usually don't get to the semis. Whereas the Germans always get out of the group stages. And, they always do well after that. I mean, and I don't necessarily think it's just because the Germans have been better than us. It's just they've got that mentality where we're going to do it. We always do it. Whereas
find a way.
Yeah. Whereas we sort of muddle through the group usually and then get knocked out by a better team. Sometimes Germany.
True. Well, more often than not Germany, or Portugal, as it's often been in the last few tournaments.
Yeah.
But at least it can't, well, we've got one game left to cover ourselves in pride and hopefully win a game. And if we do win that game, on an interesting side note, we'd become the unofficial champions of the world. Because when Costa Rica beat Uruguay, they took the title off them and defended it successfully against Italy.
With a lovely 1-0 win.
They beat 1-0, exactly. So if we win that game, we do become unofficial champions of the world. I mean, it's a small solace, but still.
It's better than getting kicked in the face.
Exactly. Most things are, to be fair.
And to be fair, talking about facial injuries, Ghana and Germany played a brilliant game last night. And
superb.
One of the best of the tournament, I'd say, probably when people look back at it, it'll be in the top 3.
Well, that game accentuates your point. Sorry to go back a little bit with Germany. They got a little bit shell-shocked by Ghana getting 2 goals in a few minutes. They looked all over the place, made the necessary subs that some of the German fans didn't seem to be appreciative of, but then they managed to go through the gears, get an equaliser, and look threatening enough to get a winner. I mean, Ghana also looked threatening enough to get a winner, but still, they went from a team shell-shocked to a team that could have took the game.
Yeah, attacking football at both ends. It very easily could have been 4-4. It could have been 5-2. A bit like the Swiss game. But it was very attacking on both sides. The fullbacks were tearing up and down the wings. But yeah, at the end, Ghana gave away a free kick. Suleiman Tari's ruled himself out for the third game, and the ball was lobbed into the box. Muller threw himself at it. Seemed to smash the Ghanaian defender on the shoulder blade, and he's just torn his face open. I think it might be something like a fractured cheekbone. I mean, he was up about walking after a while, but he was covered in blood. It was really nasty.
It looked brutal. It just...
Which is a shame considering he's already got 3 goals in the tournament, because, he'd be some people's picks for top scorer. I know at 2010 was he top scorer? I think there was joint on 5 goals, and he might have won it by virtue of assists. So it's fewer appearances, but if they have the same level of appearances, I think they do factor in assists. It's confusing with the Golden Boot. He's definitely one of the joint top scorers.
I know he's got as many goals already as Ian Robbins, so let's not forget he would have competition for that Golden Boot already.
Yeah, no, there's Ella Valencia's on 3 as well. But
that's down to how far Ecuador get, really, in terms of how many chances he'll get.
There might be someone else on 3 as well. I think Benzema is as well. Although he should really be on more. I mean, if you've seen some of the games, I mean, the Swiss game was absolutely mad. It ended up 5-2 to the French. It was a bizarre. The Swiss fan at the moment must be crazy. I mean, they won the first game 2-1 with a goal in the last minute. That game was a good one to see. Valorant Barami just taken it outside his own box. He got taken out. He got up. He carried on running. It was amazing. But then honestly, the France game, that could have easily been like 8-5. Benzema had a penalty. It was saved. Giroud came in, smashed it off the bar. I mean, that's 2 chances to score right there. And Benzema scored a goal. The referee blew up as the ball was in the air. So that one could have easily have stood. It was just crazy, if I do say so myself. So, and Benzema as well, of course, in the Honduras game, had that header that hit the post, it came back across, did it cross the line, and the keeper puts it in. So he could easily have been on 4 or 5.
Yeah, I mean, goal line technology proved that it didn't cross the line, and it was the goalkeeper that put it in. I mean, it was good to see that it actually has a use. They got used, because before that they were showing goals that had been scored when they'd rippled the net. Yeah.
Penalty that's clearly gone in. But yeah, I think that annoyed a lot of Hondurans as well, because it checked whether the ball had gone in from hitting the post, and it was obvious that it hadn't. Whether the ball had gone all the way, if the keeper had missed it, maybe it would have gone in. I don't think so, to be honest. But I mean, there's always a possibility, I suppose.
The good news is it works.
Yeah, it does.
And at least we found out now, and I can see why the Hondurans are getting annoyed when they saw the first angle. It's like, well, why have you blown up? If that's not. But then again, the ref's not in charge himself of what to check, is he? I mean, it's checked by externally, isn't it?
Yeah.
He just receives the information.
I've seen a lot of people on Twitter and Facebook saying like, "Oh, why are they showing this? This is ridiculous." And
you're quoting me. I've done that. I did that while they showed the first one.
Not just you, then, mate. I do have other friends. A lot of people saying like, "What they're doing? Why are they showing obvious goals?" And then someone saying like, "Why did they show the Honduras thing where it says no goal?" And then the ball bounces across and the keeper puts it in, it says goal, because the Hondurans are all cheering, saying, "Oh, it's not a goal," and then it turns out it was. I think FIFA must be in charge of the feed, and countries from all around the world just commentate on it. So our commentators are given it to commentate on, so they've just got to commentate on what they see.
Yeah, which is a little difficult, because most of the times when you're in control of what the production team's in control, they can give the commentators head up as to what the replays are being. But I've seen Danny Murphy got caught out last night thinking he was going to be talking about something with a replay, and it was another replay. I mean,
there's been a lot of that going on. Yeah,
thankfully they're professional enough to transition through it. But it's not an ideal situation. It's like the Olympics, though. Everyone in 2012 was complaining, "What's that stupid sound when they do replays?" And the BBC had to come out and say, "Look, we don't like it either, really. It's the feed that they give us that we have to use."
Yeah.
So, ultimately, big tournaments, you've got to play by the rule book a little bit, even if it's not ideal.
Yeah. But I just forgot to say something as well about the Germany-Ghana game. Miroslav Klose becomes the joint top World Cup goal scorer.
Alongside Ronaldo. And Ronaldo sent him a congratulatory tweet saying, "Welcome to the club." So
hey.
I mean, 15 goals in the World Cup, that's a pretty impressive record. If someone had levelled off with me, there would be an element of, "Oh, don't overtake me, please." But on the other hand, you've got to recognise that if someone else has done it, it's a pretty impressive achievement.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with Klose as well, he's 36, and obviously this is going to be his last World Cup. So,
have you seen? Did you see his goal celebration?
He tried to do the fruit flip, didn't he? He just can't quite make it anymore. I thought his ankles as well. If you watch that in slow-mo, you think he must have shredded his ankles there, but he was alright.
Bless him.
Yeah, I mean, it was good to see, because I remember Klose having a great game against Saudi Arabia in 2002 when they won 8-0. I think he might have got 2 or 3 goals in that one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he is a bit of a throwback, but it's really good to see. And yeah, he's not going to play that much. He's 36. Look at the other players they've got. But it was really good to see him come on. And it didn't need it touching in. And, you know, if there's one man that knows all about just knocking a little one in when he's just quicker than anyone else, just sees it and just gets the studs on it and turns it in. You know, he's the right man for the job.
I was going to say, he barely brushed the ball, but it went in. That's the main thing.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's going to go wide. Maybe it would have. I think it probably would have hit the post.
It was going out.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it would have hit the post and sort of come back in, or just clipped the post and gone out. I don't know, but we'll never know, because it did what it needed to do.
Yeah, exactly. So there, well, we were going to talk about a little bit surprise packages at the tournament. Germany, not really a surprise they're doing that well. I mean, a little bit surprised, some might say, that they only got a point against Ghana, but Ghana played their hearts out. Yeah,
and maybe the result against Portugal was a bit of a surprise as well. But yeah, Ghana, probably the best performance of an African team in the tournament. I've got to say that as well. The African teams have been very poor so far.
Well, Nigeria haven't been brilliant. I mean, they managed to get a win last night against Bosnia, sadly consigning Bosnia out of the tournament, which is annoying because Bosnia had a lot more of the ball and a lot more chances. Bosnia have been just the unluckiest team in this tournament, because they had that goal against Argentina which deflected off one of their players, which they couldn't do anything about. So and from there, they're on the back foot.
Yeah. But they gave it a go. I mean, against Argentina, they scared them. They definitely did. And I think the problem with Bosnia is they've got a few stars. They've got a good solid team, but obviously it's their first World Cup, and there was a lot of expectation on them from back home to really go out and show what, you know, we are Bosnia. You know, you may have never heard of us, but this is who we are. And I think they tried their best, but when you've got no, you know, international competition experience, it's going to be a very, very tough ask, especially in a difficult group.
But they shouldn't be ashamed of themselves, certainly, and with more qualification berths available for Euro 2016, I've got a good feeling they'll be there.
Yeah.
And who knows, 2 more years, a little bit of, you know, tournament experience into their system. Might manage to put it together. I'm still backing them to do well in international tournaments in the future.
Yeah, we did both say they'd do well, and they've turned out to not be great. But one team I did tip to do well. A lot of people were talking about Colombia and Belgium. Obviously, we mentioned them earlier in the year. I talked about Chile, and they've done me proud. And yeah, I mean, you can't say that a lot of people saw that coming. I mean, I know some people have said that, you know, they've got a very good manager. You know, they've got Sanchez who could be the difference for them. And you know, people talk about players like Vidal and Ilsa. But I'd like to just give some props to myself for a nice little tip there. In what was, let's be honest, a rock-hard group.
Oh, yeah.
The Dutch have just...
They look incredible at the moment. I mean, admittedly, yeah, Casillas was at fault for 2 of the goals, but some of them were just sublime. The ball in to Ian Robben for the one where he just turns and slots it in, that was one of the best assists I have ever seen. Well, Ditto one for Van Persie.
I was going to say, Van Persie's one I'd probably say was better, because Daley Blind, I think he's the son of Danny, who is a sort of rock-hard 90s Dutch midfielder. No, centre-back, I should say. I absolutely loved seeing that. I mean, he was probably about 50 yards away from the goal. With his left foot, he just cracks in a 40-yard pass, and Robin Van Persie sees it coming out of the air, sees the keeper's position, and the accuracy on that for it to loop over the keeper's head and straight in, it was, you've got to say that was top class. I mean,
I'll tell you how special that goal was. I mean, I was watching it with one of my good friends back here in my flat. My flatmate was out, you know, just doing, I think he was just visiting his girlfriend's degree show for art. And I got a phone call from him, and he's not really the biggest football fan, going, "Oh my God, did you see that?" Now, when non-diehard football fans are calling you to tell you how good a goal is, and they know that you're a pretty diehard football fan yourself, that's that's when you know a goal's transcended the core footballing fan base, and it's just one of those beautiful things that people see.
Yeah. I mean, would you say goal of the tournament so far?
It's going to be bloody hard to beat.
Yeah. I did like Costa Rica's third, but more just because it was very cute and it was very clever. Costa Rica's third in their first game. I wouldn't say it was goal of the tournament, but it was very nice. I enjoyed it a lot.
And let's face it, they're going to get out the group now. If they win that group, they've got the runners-up of Colombia's group. Colombia, who a team I backed, and have vindicated my predictions somewhat. They've put in some very proficient performances. Got a lot of attacking verve to them, a lot of pace. Their backline's a little creaky, as I said it would be, but still, backlines haven't been brilliant in this tournament so far, in most cases.
And I don't know, you said the backline was a little bit creaky. I didn't realise Yepes was 38.
Yeah.
I mean, good God. And they got Pereira as well, who's 35. I mean, he was one of the quickest players in the game 10 years ago, but now he is getting on a little bit. So it's good, to be honest, it's good to see them there. They're still playing, they're having the time of their lives.
Exactly. So. It's heartwarming to see, but they're there. They're doing the job. Let's face it. They've got some great attacking players, as I say. I think some of them will be moving clubs after this tournament. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
So, they've really pulled up a few trees, as have Chile, as you've mentioned. Another team that's sort of caught up. We talked about them last podcast. I just feel it's a bit fitting that we come back to them. And we talked about them earlier in this one. France are really looking impressive this tournament.
Yeah, esteemed pundit James Drakeford has tipped them to do really well, and now you can see why. That game, that 5-2 against Switzerland, they could have scored 7 or 8. I mean, arguably they should have got at least 7, considering that they had the ball in the net. A lot of referees wouldn't have blown while the ball was in the air. That probably should have been 6, and they did have the penalty and the rebound from the penalty as well. So, 5 was probably a poor return for them, and they just I think there were 5 different goal scorers in that game as well, which shows that they are getting goals from everywhere. And in the Honduras game, Benzema could have got a hat trick. So it's good to see they've got the spearhead, but also they've got other players who can score as well. I mean, Giroud has only got 1 so far, but he's looked dangerous throughout. So as long as he keeps it up.
Yeah, I mean, great players. I mean, that's all it is. They've got a good players, good healthy blend of young and youth and experience. It's just going to work well for them, I think. At the moment.
They can go very far. I mean, at the moment, people would probably be saying European teams, France and Holland look the best. Germany not too far behind them. But I mean, Europe haven't had a great World Cup so far, unsurprisingly. Spain are already out, England are already out, Bosnia are already out. As we'd expect, the Americas teams are doing a lot better. So, I mean, can we just talk about Brazil a little bit as well? Because I feel, and I think most people feel, they've been a little disappointing so far.
Well, that's due to the heroics of one Guillermo Ochoa. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I'm probably not.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I realised, I did a little bit of research on him afterwards. He is currently without a club. I bet his agent's phone has been ringing off the hook. Apparently there's already been interest from a couple of the big English teams, I think Arsenal, and possibly, I might have read Man United as well, but that doesn't make too much sense to me.
No. They've got a goalkeeper that's pretty set in stone.
To be honest, I think I wouldn't be surprised if the agent was saying, Man United, give me a call, so getting
Just
quicker.
In case, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that going around.
Well, they're all trustworthy folk agents, as we've discussed previously in the past.
Yeah, I mean, Sky Andrew and me all regularly go for a drink and set the world to rights. That's a lie, by the way. That definitely doesn't. Never.
But now he's, of course, those who play Football Manager know, FM legend, and just all round, in that game at least, superhuman, the way he kept them at bay. Just ridiculously good.
They call him the Octopus. There's some very good pictures on bouncing around the internet as well, where he's got 4 arms. The thing is, as well with him, he made probably 3 world-class saves in that game. He played well throughout. He kept his concentration, didn't let anything past him, which is good. But 3 incredible saves, including the header from Neymar, which is probably the save of the tournament.
Oh, without a doubt. So far, at least. I mean, who knows what's in the future?
Yeah, I mean, you see it so often. A goalkeeper has a great game and then just makes one mistake, or there's just an unstoppable header or shot that they just can't get to.
Iran versus Argentina, for example. The Iranians kept the Argentinians at bay, but it just took one injury time bit of magic from Messi to undo the entire game's work.
Yeah, and Neymar's in a similar bracket. You'd say, if there's one player that could win this game, it's going to be Neymar, and they just kept him out. So, well done to Mexico. And, you've got to say to Brazil, disappointing so far. The first game against Croatia, who I think I do like Croatia. Obviously, they lost their first game. They thumped Cameroon in the second. And now it's going to be a tough one against Mexico to basically decide who goes through in second. Croatia were unlucky in their first game.
If Mexico and Croatia draw and Brazil lose to Cameroon, Brazil go out.
Yeah, but to be honest, mate, I mean, having seen Cameroon, they look pretty poor. They don't look on the same level as the first 2 teams they played against, so I don't think they're going to be on the same level as Brazil.
True, but my point is, on the flip side, before the tournament, 2 games into the group, how many people would say, there's a chance Brazil should have been home and hosed by now?
Yeah, they should have been.
Like, a lot of people will think they should have been home and hosed by now, and yet, I mean, it's one of those mathematical anomalies, and it's probably not going to happen. But there's a chance. And let's face it, Brazil at the moment are going to play, basically, the team that scores the most goals in the Holland-Chile game. They've got either Chile or Holland, and neither team look easy to beat.
Yeah. They're playing different ways, but yeah, neither of them look easy. But yeah, what I was saying was, although Brazil have been disappointing so far, you'd still back them to beat Cameroon just because, some of the players they've got in midfield should be able to tear them apart. And Cameroon look to be relying on Eto'o quite a lot, and he's just not getting the support. It's fine knocking it up to Eto'o and giving it, and then him playing it off, but they're knocking the ball up to Eto'o, and no one's really, the midfielders aren't coming forward to support him.
Yes.
So by the time they get forward enough, Eto'o's been tackled and the ball's back down the other end of the pitch. So I feel quite sorry for Eto'o, to be honest, because it's got to be his last World Cup. I mean, what is he, 33 at least? I mean, not wanting to go too deep into the conspiracy theories, but I mean, I can't see him going back to another World Cup. So it could be that they go out fairly ignominiously.
Well, it's one of those situations where it's one world-class player in a team where there isn't much world-class support to come by, and they're just going to try and milk him for all he's worth. I mean, he's retired once and come back, but
yeah, he's had a fraught relationship with the Cameroon national team. It's fair to say. He's retired once, and he's also sort of, people have protested against him. They've said that he's a bit of an ego. He's a big ego in the dressing room. He's been close to retiring more than once, because he's been, fans have protested against him, or journalists have called for him to retire, and he said, well, if you do that, then I will. And of course, they barely actually made it to the World Cup because of their big row over bonuses.
So yeah, it's not exactly a clean house over there either. But
definitely not.
Well, we touched on it briefly with Okawa, but we've talked a lot about the World Cup, obviously because it's on. But there's still something else going on that isn't the World Cup. There's a lot of transfers going on at the moment, and I think we'll bring it back to club level just for a little while, listeners, just to show you what's going on in the old transfer market. Now, obviously the World Cup's slowed down activity, but we've still had a major signing. Cesc Fabregas has gone to Chelsea.
Yeah, which was an odd one for a lot of people because I don't think him and the rumours are that him and Mourinho don't really get on very well, which is understandable because they're on opposite sides of the Classico for a long time. So you've got to say, what is his role going to be? Is he going to take over from Lampard, or is he going to be maybe a sub a lot of the time?
I reckon he's the Lampard replacement. I think you're right there. I don't see where else into that role that team he fits, but it's going to have to be. He's a long-term replacement. That's just no two ways about it.
I mean, they've got a lot of good attacking midfielders. Willian, Oscar, Hazard. But things with Fabregas, he can play as an attacking midfielder, or he can play slightly deeper.
He'll be playing deep. There's no two ways about it.
You can have. Otherwise it's going to be like 3 or 4 attacking midfielders and no one sitting deeper. So it's got to be.
Or just Matic on his own. And Matic is good, but he's not going to be able to do it on his own.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be very interesting to see where he's actually going to play and how often he's going to play, because I'm not sure if he's going to be in their first choice 11, which is odd for a player of his quality.
Oh, there's no doubt about. I think he will. I think Lampard's just pure physical fitness will mean that he's going to be there. Fabregas will be playing more often than not. So maybe Lampard will become the substitute, like impact player. I don't know. We'll see. Mourinho, he's not afraid.
Hasn't Lampard gone to New York?
He's gone. I don't think he's signed for another club yet. I'll have to check this now. You've asked a question, and now I'm a little bit apprehensive about the answer. I'm just going to double check that. I'm almost certain he's not signed. I thought.
Current team's New York City.
Oh no, he has moved. All right. Oh yes, because him and David Villa are signing up for the New York team. Yeah, that's me cut out there.
Apparently, David Villa's already been sent on loan to Australia though, which is very odd. I'm not quite sure why that is. But yeah, I think the idea is maybe to give him a bit of match fitness before the season starts, because it doesn't start for a while, does it? And I've heard that. I mean, I can't tell you my sources on this, but I've heard
the MLS is happening now, but New York City FC won't be in it this year. They're not going to start till next season.
Yeah.
Because they're adding 2 new teams next season. It's both the New York City FC and Orlando City Soccer Club.
Yeah. So what I've heard, which is quite interesting, is that before the next season starts, Harry Redknapp's going to try and get Lampard on loan for a few months, which I would not be surprised at all. You know, he'd be coming back to London, he'd be working with Redknapp, who he knows very well, and he'd be able to get a bit of fitness up for the big push. You know, for a team starting, it doesn't exist before. It's never existed before. He's obviously going to be fighting fit, because he's going to be a big name in that team. One of the only names at the moment.
Well, there's 2 other players on the Wikipedia page. I mean, I know Wikipedia is not the best and most up-to-date format, but it's interesting that New York City Football Club, I know we're deviating off the topic, but I've just got to mention this, they're co-owned by the New York Yankees and Manchester City. Yeah.
It's basically an expansion team. Manchester City have got a few teams around the world that they have a...
Well, that's where David Villa's at Melbourne City, who are also owned by the Manchester City group.
Yeah, well, basically, they bought him for New York, but they've just loaned him away.
Yeah, just to keep him fit.
Mm-hmm.
Can't blame him for doing that, I suppose. But I mean, obviously, these two new MLS teams will mean that we'll see a lot more of grizzled veterans being courted for that league. I mean, Jermaine Defoe's recently gone there. We've spoken at length about that. You owe me £10, by the way.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I was disappointed when it came to that. I mean, he did go in the
development squad.
Yeah, basically the backup.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a little bit harsh. Maybe Welbeck's not really done anything. As everyone knows, I'm not a big fan of Welbeck. I'd have much preferred to see Jermaine in that squad. And I think you've got to say, yeah, maybe he moved a bit too early to the MLS. But I mean, I'm not sure how much difference it would have made, to be honest. Why not throw Jermaine in there? Because Welbeck's not got much experience out of this World Cup. He's not played well. I really wished he would have gone, not least to stop me from playing it.
That's true. But on the other hand, at least with these two New York two teams in the MLS, we're going to have some more veterans going out overseas, maybe to enhance the league stature somewhat more. As you know, it does. A lot of people thought it would have done with Beckham. I personally think it's going to take more than that in terms of core development, which the American structure is working on. Mm-hmm. But one veteran that won't be going out to join the likes of David Villa and Frank Lampard is Joleon Lescott, who has recently signed for West Bromwich Albion, who have also got a new manager. I mean, as I say, we've got to keep up to date on the managers as well. But yeah, Lescott to West Brom, he's going to get game time, which he didn't get at Man City. So it's a good move for him. But do you reckon he could have got? And I don't want to sound disrespectful. Could he have got a little bit higher up the Premier League food chain?
To be honest, how old is he? How much has he been playing recently? How good is he?
They're three questions that a lot of Premier League teams would have actually been asking, because no one really knows how good he is anymore because he doesn't play. He's not been playing much. He is getting on a bit. He'd be lucky to get, in a team that finished in the top 10 last season. I'd say it's probably a good move for him. He is a Birmingham lad. He actually used to play for Wolves, if you can remember back that far. And for West Brom, I think he would do a good job for them. It just depends how good he really is these days anymore, because no one's really seen him play very much for the last 2 seasons. I mean, he's quite versatile. He has looked solid, a few years ago, but that's what I'm really going on, because he's been very much a bit part player. I mean, probably 5th, 6th choice centre back for Manchester City. Sometimes.
Oh no, he wasn't uprooting any trees over there, was he? Let's face it.
No.
I mean, Manchester City have been busy in terms of farming out players. I mean, Costel Pantillamon's gone to Sunderland, so they're cutting the dead weight at long last, it seems, in their eyes.
Yeah, he was an odd one. I think they just got it, like when you're on Football Manager and you see someone who's like 7 foot tall and you're like, yeah, I'll get him in for a laugh. You do. I think it was a bit of one of them, because I think he was the joint tallest player to have played in the Premier League or something, or not far off. He was about 2 meters tall. So yeah, he was a big old boy. And when he came in, he did okay most of the time, but he didn't really look like, considering that Manchester City think of themselves as one of the biggest clubs in the world, he didn't really look like a world-class goalkeeper, which is what they need.
Well, yeah. I mean, he was always going to be an understudy, and I think maybe now he might step out of the shadow and get some game time himself. So, well, best of luck to him, ultimately.
Yeah. One thing that, you're not going to really replace Joe Hart straight away. I mean, I know Joe Hart had a better run of form and Pantillaman got a few games, but, I mean, he got a bit of Premier League experience. Good luck to him. I hope he does well, because, I think he deserves it. But, I was happy to see Joe Hart not getting a bit of game time because of all his terrible adverts, which have tripled since his involvement in the World Cup, which now looks even stupider. I mean, he does razors, he does Head and Shoulders,
Doritos
as well. You know, it's just like he's milking it for all he's worth. It's just a little bit crass, to be honest. Especially now that England are out of the World Cup, it's like I'm sitting there watching it, thinking how many hundreds of thousands of pounds he made out of this World Cup. You know, because he is England's goalkeeper at the World Cup. He's been given these deals. And, you know, I'm just thinking about the poor bastards who've had to pay extortionate rates to get over to Brazil and to buy their tickets to watch the games. These days, the World Cup is big business. So there's been a lot of Englishmen who've had to spend thousands and thousands of pounds to go out and watch England, you know, go out without winning a game so far. And there's the players getting rich off it. And also, I've got to mention the Mars advert as well with Welbeck, Sturridge and Gerrard. You know, they've been paid somewhere in the millions for that. I mean, that's ridiculous as well.
The Mars advert also, because I think Mars do some work with the FA, so I don't know how. I mean, I know ultimately they've got freedom of choice to be in that advert, but there's an element of we've got to do a bit of work for the Football Association here with that one.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, if you're going to make a football advert, don't make one as stupid as that. Where it's just like, there's a guy in the crowd telling us what we should do. Maybe we should listen to him. If you go to an England game at Wembley, there's going to be 75, 80,000 people telling you what to do. The idea that you can just push your way through to the front and shout at them and they're going to agree with you and go, yeah. The manager tells you what to do, and that stupid little. Oh, it just irritates me. It irritates me slightly less than the one where the steward decides to go in goal because the keeper's knee's injured.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a registered player. If he's not registered in the match squad, he can't be playing. And if it is a World Cup final or whatever, why is he doing a scorpion kick? Just get out. Get out. I mean, kill him with flamethrowers. That'd be my advice. I was a little bit annoyed by it.
No, I can certainly. Well, I can't say see where you're coming from, but at least. Well, yeah. No, I do get your point now. It's not beyond the bounds of reality, but it's an advert at the end of the day. I wouldn't read that much into it.
Well, I do.
All right.
And yeah, I mean, what I was saying is basically, yeah, it's an advert, but they could have made it so it was a little bit less patronising and idiotic.
That's fair. I can certainly see your point of view there. I think the final big transfer that we haven't yet covered, in terms of one that's definitely gone through, is Rickie Lambert's move to Liverpool. Bit of an odd one.
A bit of an odd one, yeah. But I mean, he was on the books at Liverpool when he was 17 and let go. He is a Scouser. He's always been a fan. So, you know, they've probably not had to shell out huge wages. They've definitely not had to shell out too much money. It was about $4 million, which is very good money for his quality. You've got to remember as well, they are playing in Europe next season. So if they've got Suarez playing on the Wednesday night, they can always have Lambert in on the Saturday.
Yeah.
Lambert, and if on the Saturday they're playing West Brom away, Lambert's going to be able to deal with that fine. You know, Lambert's a good enough player to get you a couple of goals.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he gives them another option as well. I mean, that's what some people are saying against Chelsea. They are, you know, last season Liverpool showed great attacking strength. You know, they blow teams away, quite often have the game won by 45 minutes. You know, at half time there would be 2, 3, 4 goals up sometimes. So, that worked really well for them. But against Chelsea and then a few other times they looked like they didn't really have another option. They'd try and blow teams away. If the opposition weathered the storm, then they just keep trying and eventually blow themselves out. So maybe having Lambert up there would give him another option. He's not just a big lump. You know, he is big, strong centre forward, but he can play a bit. He's very good with the ball at his feet. But he's very good at holding the ball up and bringing the players into play, which maybe, I mean, Suarez is more often looking looking at going to goal. So, it does give them another option, which they need.
And as I say, it'll take the pressure off Sturridge and Suarez, because when they were both out at the start of the season, everyone's going, well, Liverpool are in trouble here a little bit.
Yeah.
But now they'll be alright.
I'll just say as well, Suarez proved me wrong. He's not got injured yet, but I still think, to be under the surgeon's knife 4 weeks ago and now scoring goals in the World Cup is, first of all, remarkable. Second of all, sickening for us. I still think that's a very, very dodgy. The severity of that injury, if that could easily go and he'd be out for a while, because that kind of injury can be a recurring injury if you do it again. So he's got to be very careful. I'm not surprised he was hauled off after getting the 2 goals.
But hey ho, ultimately he was our death now. And as I say, whilst England is still out of the tournament, we're not going to keep up our obsessive watching of it. Well, we are. That's what I'm sorry. So whilst England are still out of the tournament, we're going to keep. I
was going to say what you're talking about. I'm going to keep watching it. I think Chile and Costa Rica are now my second teams now that England and Bosnia are out of it. Obviously, I'll keep an eye on Belgium as well. But
I've got a bit of old Colombia love still on the go, so I'm going to cling on to that. And I think Mexico are doing pretty well. I'm going to keep hold of them.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Croatia, that's the problem, and I can't even want Brazil to go out in the first round because, there's been so much. The Brazilians love football. A lot of them don't necessarily want the World Cup there, which is understandable. But I think for Brazil to go out in Brazil, I don't want that to happen to Scolari. I don't want that to happen to some of the players. I just wish 3 teams could go through. Don't really care about Cameroon. They've not been great.
But ultimately, there's more group games to play. We'll have a clearer picture of the second round soon enough, and we'll be joining you back then, I guess, listeners. So, this has been Mid-Table Crisis. I have been Simon Cross. I will continue to be so, forever and always.
And my name's Tom Patrick. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we have.
Alright, have a good one, guys.
Bye-bye.